All right, hey, what's going on, guys? So I did get to go ahead to fix the Switch and the PS5. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on both of these, and maybe I'll throw something else in. But the Switch, the PS5, we'll fix it. All right. So let's start off with the Switch because, like I said before in the previous video, it has been worked on before. Let me go ahead and show you guys that after the intro. All right, so here we are underneath the microscope. We're waiting for the camera, acting as if the camera is not connected up, which maybe it's not, but I think it is because we used it the last time. So maybe because we don't have the light on, and we close off this side. Like it's not saving these settings, so every time I get back in here I gotta turn down the exposure. So let me go ahead and show you guys that port. So here is the port that we're working on, and like I said before, somebody did work on it. We disconnected the battery. We were waiting to get confirmation from the other shop to go ahead, and you can see where they worked on it. So if you look here, that pin is, like, a lot of these pins are not making a connection. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and finish removing this board, and once we remove the board, then we can work on it. Okay, we don't need the fan out, so I'm not going to mess with the fan. I'm going to try to keep these screws all in one spot on my mat here. I think it's cleaning time again. We got to dump the desk. Everything that's on it gets dumped. Getting to that point again. Okay, I'm just going to show you guys over my desk because that's going to make more sense as far as what's going on. And this camera is okay over the desk, but the lighting is not. That's a desk and a microscope so you guys can see. But we're just going to slide this out the way a little bit, and that way you get a little bit better lighting. I'm trying to make the content a little bit better for you guys. Starting to work with this guy. Hopefully he can help us make the content a little bit better for you guys, and kind of give me a nice little passive income. Not really passive because I'm still working for it, but you know what I mean. So let's continue to remove these screws. We have and I haven't been able to test this to see what's going on with it. Look like there's a hole in that connector. Yeah, those holes are normal. I wasn't sure what I was seeing underneath the microscope, and I wanted to make sure. We still have one more screw right here that we have to remove also. Okay, and right here. Okay, and we've gotten that out, and we still have one more connector right here. Okay, they're all out. Let's see what else has been done to this. So if I'm looking underneath the microscope right now, I'm going to give it a, we have to give it a little bit of exposure from here. Like that. All right, so here, flux there. There's flux right there also. They didn't really do a terrible job on the port, but I'm just kind of wondering why they didn't finish the job on the port, because you can clearly tell like someone started it but they didn't finish, and I'm starting to wonder why. Because usually when you see them like that, that means something else is going on with it. And that person didn't finish because they couldn't solve it. But let's see if we can solve it. We're not going to put too much time in it. Because I did tell the other shop that I'm guaranteed once I change this port, I'm guaranteed my money. Because I told them there was other issues with it, and this particular shop doesn't. Like when you tell them something is wrong, because they quote, the way they quote, it's hard for them to, grasp the fact that, hey, you might be misquoting just to get repairs in, and not thinking that, like once you get this repair in, what is it going to cost you to actually get this repair done? We're going to go back over the desk. It makes more sense to go back. Over the desk. Whatever they use don't smell very well at all. And just as I thought, just as I thought. Look at that. So you can see there's pads missing from here, here, here. Yep, so there's a whole bunch of missing pads, which is what I thought was going on here. And like I said, the shop does not want to continue from here. So all the guy said was, just replace the port and that's it. So that's what we'll do. We'll replace the port and that's it. He'll pay us the 80 bucks, whether this works or not. Because he says go further, so I'm not going to go any further. Because I tried to explain this to him beforehand that this thing might be really, really bad. And I tried to negotiate a price with him. And he wasn't having it, so. Let's clean up. I just got some new to me solder paste. Which is supposed to be like a lower melting temperature, so let's see how we do with this one, because I have tried a few of them and I'm really bad with covering things back up and putting them back in place. So I think that gets me all the time. But we'll try our best. Okay. Alright, so let's see if we can remove this solder that's here. Clear that hole. Clear that one. Not too bad there on that one. And then we have a few more holes to clear, and then yeah, so like I said, I figured something like this was happening underneath here. Because like I said, I think this guy's been taking these and he's been trying to repair them himself. And he knows it, and he just continuously, you know, you ask him about it and he's like, oh, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. It's always the first sign of, you know, somebody lying when they're telling you they don't know anything. And then every time you go to work on whatever he's given you, you find out that there's way more damage or way more that has happened here. So, I mean, good for him in his business. But we will just fix it and give it to him. That's like I said, this we could jump here, this we could jump here, this we could jump here, this we could. This I see a via right there coming up out of it, and that one too. But like I said, I'm not concerned with trying to fix those because I've talked to him before and he's not willing to pay to fix them pretty much. And this damage was not done by customer. This is definitely tech damage. And I won't say the name of the business, but just, you know, it's always just like same issue with this shop. Got nice fluffy pads there. Let's do one more cleaning. The guy literally said to me, just replace the port. So I don't want you guys to think like, hey, once you repair all of these traces, this guy refuses to um to have anything to do with anything that he damages. So we're gonna skip past that, and let's go underneath the microscope again. And that's what it looks like. Like I said, all the pads that are missing is damage from the other shop, and the guy that owns the shop does not want to fix them. He straight up told me, hey, just put the port in place, and we will see what happens. All right, so we're gonna start at 355, and we're gonna get this low melted. Even though it shouldn't take this much to melt it, I just want to get it melted, and then I didn't even clean out this hole right here. And that's how quick it melts. Okay, so now I'm just gonna turn it down. Uh, 216 with an airflow of 47. Because I pretty much got the board up to temp, so I'm gonna come back in here. Starting to get shiny. Yep. And since they're pretty much so what port is this? It says, oh, this is the OLED. Oh wow, I didn't know that the OLED has a different port. Okay. So the OLED Nintendo Switch has a different port from the actual regular Nintendo Switch. And like I said, in regular cases, I would fix the damage trace, but okay, and then we'll just put some flux and then we'll reflow it one more time. Just like that, and let's reflow it. I'm gonna turn up the airflow a little bit more. And there we go. So if you really want to, I can really go over these and touch them up just to make sure, but they're pretty good. No, maybe we'll touch them up because I'm already seeing it move. So let's go ahead and let's. Okay, let's get our get a larger tip on this. Actually, you know what? Let's just touch up those back pins first. We're gonna just touch these ones all up. Just like that. And if you don't have a good soldering iron to do this, and even though I have a good one, sometimes I do this myself. You can get you can use the hot air to help you with this. That one is bridging. Let's just clear that right now, and then we'll finish tacking down these two back pins, and then we can do the other side also. But like I said, only one side of this is gonna work. I'm not gonna struggle with, or not struggle, but I'm not gonna fight with it. Just not to get paid or just to argue with this shop owner. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Can't even get my iron in between there. Okay. Flip it over. And we'll do the same thing to this side of the board. We'll just add some solder, some flux. And that should be it. Yeah, these back ones really take a lot of heat. So we're just gonna go back with our bigger iron, and we're just gonna, because there's nothing in the area, so I'm not really worried about burning anything. Over here, you just have to be careful with the filters and everything. Okay. Now let's look over here one more time. All of those pins look really good. But like, I'm gonna say this again. I don't think the customer damaged this board. The reason why I say that is because the port has been removed and tried to be replaced. I don't think the customer went that far. So let's go ahead and let's test this. Yep, so we're pulling 12 volts now, which is good. It'll only work on the one side though. So if I take this and I plug it in, 12 volts, if I turn it around, nothing. So he just has to deal with that. That's his own concern. I'm not really worried about it. And we'll put this board in the housing, and then we'll just do a real quick test to make sure. And that's it. Now, if you really, so there's two ways you can do this. I could have ran jumpers from the back to the front, and make all of those connections the same way, and I believe that would work. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't done it like that before, but I think that should work. I don't think I necessarily have to grab the traces from the other side of the board where they might be located. I think I can do it from like right here, just, you know, all of them. If it was something that I was working on, I would look into it, but not. Plus, when there's this much tech damage, sometimes it's just not worth it. Not worth it for the shop, and it's not worth it for the customer. Because how much is the customer going to pay? How much is the shop going to charge? And, you know. I don't know. I don't want to keep rambling on. I mean, I'll let you guys, you know, tell me what you think. And look at up here. Look at this. I don't even know what that was. I'm just kind of concentrating on putting this thing back together. Making sure I don't rip none of these cables. Okay, and disc reader. Let's connect it up first, and then we'll kind of lay it in place. Okay, and like that. I think one more tiny screw goes here, and then we'll just put the heat sink back on. Right here. And then we'll test it after these two screws go in, then we'll test it. And you're probably wondering why didn't I do that before? That's because I see the 12 volt. And when I see the 12 volt, I know that the tops, at least this top row of am I tripping here? What's going on? That screw just fell right here. Okay, we'll look for that. Oh, found it. There's no feeling like finding the screw when you lose it on the ground. If you're in a repair business, you'll know what I mean. Okay, so there we go. We got the 12 volt connected up, but we don't have a battery connected yet. So we're not going to see any charger symbol. So let's go ahead and connect that up and let's try again. And we're getting 2 amps, 1 milliamp, battery dead. That's what it seems like. It seems like the battery might be dead. Yeah, usually it starts off a little bit higher than this. Let's check the battery voltage, see what's going on. Let's see what our battery's reading. .8. I think that should be enough to get the battery BQ chip reading the battery, right? I think it's 2.6, maybe 2.9. But let's see, 200 milliamps drawing right now. And let's see if it goes up. If I see it start going up to like 300 milliamps or anything like that, then I know that this thing is good. If not, then we might have a bad BQ chip. But regardless, even if we do have a bad BQ chip, the guy told me to replace the charging port, and then he'll go from there. So I can't do anything else. All right, so we'll leave this over here for a few minutes and see what happens. We'll come back and check on it. Okay, so what else we have? The PS5. If you guys remember, I told you I bought a PS5 and it was kind of like iffy. I didn't know what was going on with it. I did end up replacing the HDMI port on it, and then we removed the USB port also, USB 2.0 port, and after that was done, the controller wasn't syncing up to it, so I thought that maybe it was just the console was bad. I come to find out it was just my controller. So let me go ahead and turn this on so you guys can see this, and then we will work on it a little bit more. So what we're going to do on it is we're going to actually replace that USB port with a new one, and then we'll have a working console. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and power it on. And let me show you guys this one. Yep, there we go. So it's turning on. And this is the console. So it is working. But we want to replace that USB port because that was the main issue with it. I think that was causing the actual board to be shorted. And the console wouldn't turn on because the USB port was shorted. So let's go ahead and let's disconnect everything from this console. Right, and then we will replace the USB port. I think I've done one of these before. I don't think it's that bad, but also don't remember. So I had to wait on these to come in. I had to order them from Mobile Centrics and wait on them. Now, what do you guys feel about the tariff that's going on? Are you guys, if you're a repair shop, are you stocking up on parts, or what are you doing? If you're not a repair shop, what are you guys doing as far as financially? You know, hit me up in the chat. Let me know what you guys are doing. Maybe you guys will spark some idea in me of something I could be doing that would help me. All right, so we're going to be working over here. Let me bring you guys over the desk. Over my desk right here, we're going to clean up all of these holes. So first thing we got to do is flood the area. Get our large soldering iron tip. Okay. This is making a lot of smoke. Definitely fume extractor. Turn this on when it's necessary. Right now, it's necessary. This here is needed. I'm using the connector for it on something else. I just can't think what. It's not my computer. Okay, I think I see it. Oh. Now so I'm definitely using the fume extractor cable for something else, and I think it might be my computer that I'm using it for. I think. think so. Let's see. Yeah, I am, but I found another one that I can use, so we'll use that one instead. What is this? Okay. All right. All right, so let's continue. We can try. Let's. You know what? Let's try our suction here with our hot air. We're gonna turn it up. That way we're getting full air. Oh. Yeah, whatever I had it sitting on was burning, and it was giving an awful smell. Oh gosh. Okay, let's clean up here a little bit. Okay. Okay. Okay, and all the holes have been cleared. This one still have a little bit in it, but I think it should be good. We can try to clear it. And there we go. And now let's get our new port. I think maybe I should bring this camera right a lot closer down if I can into my workspace. So maybe like that, a little bit better, right? Better yet, would it be able to connect? Okay, I'm trying something new with you guys right now, just to see how it's gonna work. I just got to make sure that it doesn't get in my way. And that I'm not going to hit it or anything like that. And maybe because I have it much closer to the project that I'm working on, you guys can see it a little bit better. Let me now. Probably not the best time to be doing this right now, but we want to test it. Okay, and then we might just move those cameras around, because that looks a lot better, at least to me. Right, so right here is where I'm working. Nope, so that's not in the shot. And the camera is just, it's way too overexposed. There's filters that I can put on here, I believe. Let's see. Let's see if we can put like yeah, no. So that's something that I'm gonna have to work on, because it's overexposed. Like it's really like this area right here that I'm trying to show you guys is super lit, and I don't mind it being lit, but if you guys can't see it because there's too much, which I don't even know where the direct light is coming from, but regardless, let's just continue on with this repair. This is something that I'm gonna have to work on so I can give you guys better quality videos. I was talking to the guy that's editing the videos, and he was telling me the same thing. So this camera, either I'm gonna have to, I don't think the camera needs to be replaced. I don't think that's the issue. I think the Logitech software that I'm using, right, for it's not even seeing the camera anymore. So the Logitech software used to pick up this camera plus the Logitech camera, and then it stopped. So regardless, we have to move on. I have no time to sit here and talk about this, because then that's going to take up more time on the video. Okay, so there we go. We just laid the port in place and we're done. No, I'm just kidding. Let's add some flux and want to tack this down first, right? So I'm gonna simply make sure that I have it down on somewhere flat, and I'm gonna get my solder wire, if I remember where I put it. I don't want to have to break off a new piece, because then when I do that, then I find an old piece, and then I got a whole bunch of old pieces laying around. But I'm gonna do it for the sake of time. Okay, so okay, and then I can just simply flux okay. So I feel like I got all of those tacked in. So what I'm gonna do now is some more flux, and I'm just gonna kind of go over it with this larger tip just to make sure. Okay. Then we're just gonna do one cleaning and check it underneath the microscope. Just to make sure that we don't have any pins that's moving. See, that's not good, because now the whole camera is shaking because it's on the desk that I'm working on. So that's not gonna work. Most definitely not gonna work, because it's gonna always shake like that every time I'm working. But for now, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna leave it because it's just too much right this second. I don't know if this video is even gonna be able to be cleaned up. And let's look. I think I might see one. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's good, that's good. That's really good. That's really good. That's really good. This one I don't like. Yeah, so we're gonna have to put some more solder on that, because it doesn't look like it's following the path. So if you notice over here on this one, see, those are the trace. This doesn't look like it's going down that path. So I want to make sure that I flood this with enough just to make sure that it is going along that path and it's able to send data. Okay, those look a lot better. Let's test to make sure that we have a connection along that path. So from here to here, nothing. From here to here, we're good. But we don't have anything from here to this one. No, we do. Oh yeah, this one is this. Okay, so we're good there. So those are making a connection, and that's what I needed, was that confirmation. That confirmation lets me know that we're good. So we're gonna just order another Brios camera, right? Which I think that is USB, right? Yeah, this other Brios camera I believe is, I think it might be Type C. That, I don't know. We'll just go. I've been saying I'm gonna order another one and I haven't yet. Yep, it's USB, so we'll order another one of those. And I think that's it for this USB port, right? Let's just clean up this other side of the board. And we got, look what we got in. We got these in. Oh, did I unplug that camera on accident? Or is that camera just behind? Let's see. No, it's frozen. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I got some of the cleaning cloths in, so that's really good. I needed those. So I'm able to clean up over here now. It ain't gonna be perfect. No way it's gonna be perfect, but these definitely help with cleaning up. So we replaced the HDMI port on this. Which needs to be cleaned because there's, I don't know what this is. Okay. Okay, so that's cleaned up. Okay. So we cleaned it up. Time to put it back where it goes. Back into the housing. Do we? Oh, we need to buy another one of those too. The flux, flux, flux be gone or something like that, or flux something. Buy another one of those. Those come in real handy too, cleaning off the board. If I can, I like to get the board super clean if I can. Sometimes you just can't because you've done so much work on the board that there's no way to do that. So that switch actually stopped taking anything. So we're gonna go back and look at that one after we put this PlayStation in here. In the So put this in place. And where is the clamp? Oh my God, that's not even a screw. Like I just picked up a random screw and was about to use it to try and hold the PlayStation top on. As if you could just use any screw. And I know you guys are probably wondering, does the port work? We can test that. Right? All we have to do is plug a charger in and make sure that it's gonna charge and that it will sync up. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. And yep. So I just used it to turn on the console, and you could hear the beep, but it's plugged into it, and that port is working. Uh, yep, and there it is. So it's plugged into that back USB port, and it's working fine. So that's good. Okay. So let's move back over to this switch. No heat spots. Oh yeah, the screen is on the switch. Okay, I think I see what is going on here. Because we have backlight but no display. So I think when I connected up that let me show you guys this. That's a PlayStation over the desk. So I think when I connected up this ribbon cable right here, can't really see it. When I connected up this ribbon cable, I don't think I connected it up properly. So let's disconnect our battery. Yeah, that's connected up. So I think the issue is here. Why is it acting like that? Like it's normally these things going nice and smooth, but we're having okay. Maybe it's just me. Okay, there we go. So we're getting the charging logo. It needs to be charged. Let's see if it's gonna charge properly now. Not that side. Turn around. Okay, and there it is. It's charging. Yep, so it's 500 milliamps right now and it's still going up. So I think this is fixed. I'm not gonna uh okay. That way I know that only it's going to charge only on one side and there's nothing I can there is something I can do, but um the person that's supposed to pay for it is not going to pay for it. Did the console shut down on me? Go back to this. It's saying that it lost power, so and it did it again. So that port might be shorted. Not the new port that I put on, but something on the line on the port. might have issues. So now we're going back into the whole boot loop or blue light that's just flashing. Yeah, so the blue light is flashing again. I have to replace that port with a new port. So I think something, okay, something is wrong on this USB port line. Most definitely something is wrong. But what could it be? Oh, wow. You guys seeing all this? Yeah. Yeah. So let me show you guys this. Look at that. So I replaced that port, and when the actual game console goes to turn on, it gives the orange screen, which probably means that it's CPU related. Maybe. Because it's on. See? Crazy. Alright, well, we replaced the port. We get Nintendo logo. And then we get that. We could say it's overheating, but 9 times out of 10, that's not what's going on. Looking for anything that might not be connected up, but I don't see anything that looks out of place there. Okay, so for this, I don't know where the controller is for these ports. We have I see one main thing, one main line that looks like power. And I might be wrong. And it might also be on the other side of the board. So I'm not sure. But let's see. Right here, I believe is power. Yeah, so we have a data line, data. This could be something, but that's ground. So this one, which you guys can't see, that one is the power. Oh, so that's Southbridge. I do know that it does connect to the Southbridge. so you can have an issue. So let's just double check this. I don't know why it switched. So right here is going to here, and over here, is it going to the same place? Yep. Okay, so now we have a choice to make, right? Okay. So this USB port right here is causing all of this drama. On why? Why is it causing all this drama? Trying to see if there's anything on it that's okay. So there's nothing shorted on that line that I can see, or that I can even read from probing. So maybe this is bad, the filter. But why would the filter, if it has no path to ground, cause the console to lock up? It's not. It's not. Okay. Okay. And like I said, the only thing that I did different was add this port on. Before adding this port on, the console was turning on, staying on, no issues. No issues. Okay, let's try again. And this time, don't think it's a filter. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to take the board out one more time. Let's take the board out one more time and see what we can see. Because maybe there's something on the other side. Maybe there's some kind of power supply. I know it's a 5-volt power rail, but maybe there's another power supply that, I don't know, that controls that. I'm not sure. Don't know. And even from the looks of it, the port could use some more work. But that's still not the issue. Still not the issue that we're facing here. This might be the actual supply for each of these. And the reason why I say that is because they look the same. And from, I'm just assuming this, right? I'm not 100% sure here that we have, this is the main power line right here on both of them, which kind of look the same. So I would assume that these two, that's what it controls. Okay. We're just going to test around here. See if there's any short. No. 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 So you see you have these two pins, ground, and this looks like some kind of control signal right here. And this may be a feedback. Don't know. Yeah, these are not shorted. At least as far as I can tell, they're not shorted. But let's just test to see. This is kind of hard to show on camera because the way I'm going to have to test it, but yeah, so it does go. So these are the power supply for here. And I don't know if any other way for me to test, but this is the power supply for it. And then these also talk to the south bridge. Do they? Yeah, because I think they can, because they can turn on the console, they have to talk to the south bridge. Yep. Okay. So we know that these two are connected So this one, I believe, is for the first one. Yep. So this one goes here. And we don't have an issue with the port actually. We have issues, I think, with the data. And if I'm looking at this, it looks a little messy, but nevertheless, it's working. Oh, did we knock off this cap? But I don't think that cap would, this little cap would cause all of that issue. I don't think so. I'm almost 100% sure that little cap is not causing this issue. Let's test this filter. Make sure we don't have any lines crossing. Okay. 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 So those are all reading good. So I really don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, we can remove that USB port and not mess with it. But here's the thing. If the USB port is having an issue, right, which that's what I'm seeing now, or that's what I'm understanding now, is it the power supply for it that's the issue? And will it only do that when I am connected to that USB port, right? So let me just plug it back into the console, put this thing back together, because I didn't try this, I'm gonna try it now. I'm gonna try to use a different port and plug the controller into and see if the console starts up fine. Especially now that it's been disconnected for a while. Before I sell this console, I am gonna test this, and that way I can get a better idea of what's going on. Because in the future, this might help me with another console that's facing the same issue. Okay, all right. Now let's go here and we're gonna power it on. We're not messing with that USB port, and let's see what happens. Yeah, and it's just the blue light is just blinking. There's only a few things on the USB port: power, data, and from there it goes out to uh, maybe the processor. I'm not sure where it goes. Um, I don't have a board view to even tell where it goes. But it probably definitely, I'm thinking, talks to the CPU. Yeah, so right now it's just a pulsing blue light. And you can't turn it off from the pulsing blue light. So what I'm gonna do is in the next video, I'm gonna remove the filter and then test it and see what happens. If the filter, if when I remove the filter, the issue goes away, then that means that it's more than likely. Hold on. You know what? I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna remove the filter now and get this test out the way. Because if I remove the filter and the problem goes away, that means that there's a communication issue, which I think that's what it is. Because I think if it was a power issue, we would have way more problems than this. I'm gonna try not to melt any of the plastic on this side of the board. Okay, so I just removed the filter. Uh, and like I said, I've tested it and there was no issue there when I tested the filter. I didn't see any short. There was nothing connecting to each other, but I wanted to remove the filter and see what happens with the console when the filter is removed, because now it shouldn't, it really, I'm thinking that it's not going to talk to, nope, it shut down. It shut down within a matter of seconds. Yep, and it did it again. So it's not the filter that's the issue, which we kind of figured that it wasn't a filter problem. Well, actually, I thought it was, because my thinking was if it was a power issue, why would it turn on? But obviously, one of those power supplies is intermittent working, which is the one that I believe that's connected to that port. If we remove that, maybe. How long have I been running and gunning for? A little bit over an hour, I think. Okay. Like an hour and 30 minutes, I think I'm in. Hour and 35 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to remove the power supply chip for this right here. Even though I think after removing the power supply, there's a line that has to communicate with something else from that power supply. From this one, I believe. I believe that's the one for it. Let me just double check. Yep, this one. So we're gonna lift this one off, and I think we have a marking. So we're gonna remove this one. Okay, and we have this arrow, which lets us know this is pin number 1. So let's lift that. Because I mean, it could even be like a filter or something like that around this chip that's causing that. So it could even be like a filter like one of these. What is that? Okay. Eight, 40, and 9. So we should get that. 8, 40, and 9. So I'm getting the same reading on both of these. Okay, as far as I can tell, there's nothing wrong with them. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them. A little bit lower, but it's okay. This one is higher. 104, and what was that? 124, 229. Okay, so this is reading a little bit lower. 40, 132. 40, 132. So this is reading a little bit lower. That's the only thing that I see here. Eight there, 8 here, fine. Okay. All right, so what we did was we removed the power supply that's on this USB port, okay? So you guys are aware of that. So if you're wondering, what am I trying to do here is I am fixing a PlayStation 5 that I purchased. The USB port was damaged and also the HDMI port. I have replaced the HDMI port and the console was still stuck at the flashing blue light or pulsing blue light, meaning that the console would try to turn on, the light would stay, pulsating for however long, and then it would shut off. When I removed the damaged USB port, the console stayed on, got to the home screen, and everything. I replaced the port with a new one. Once I replaced it with a new one, the problem came back. So I think there's a problem with the USB port that I replaced. Okay? What do I think is going on with it? I think maybe the power supply, because I removed the filter, so after removing the filter, the next thing to remove from there is the power supply. Because a USB port has a 5-volt power supply and some data lines. Okay, the data lines I believe talks to the CPU or the south bridge to turn the console on and off. Okay. So after that, we have removed all of that stuff, and now we're trying to see if we can get the console working. Since we have removed the filter and we have removed the power supply. And it's still just pulsing. So this looks like that's not going to work. So I think the only fix to it to get an actual working console would be to remove that port and leave it out completely. I think that would be the fix. Because I think anything outside of that is just doesn't seem to want to work. Because I think with the USB port removed, the power supply still can communicate with the south bridge, but when it's removed completely, it can't. And I think that might be causing an issue because the south bridge might be trying to say, "Hey, USB, are you alive?" And you can't talk back. I think, not sure. I mean, it's just filter to filter out noises. So no, that's not the case then, because the filter is just to filter out signals coming in and going out. But I do know for sure that this thing was working. And I showed you guys that at the beginning of the stream before we put that port in. Alright, let's pull it, plug it in. Alright, that should be safe mode. And we're now in safe mode. Okay? So let's just gonna do a simple restart and see what happens. Let's try to just reset it and see what happens. It reset, but now it's back to the pulsing. So I think we have no other choice but to remove that USB port. Yeah, it shut down. So so the final choice decision is to remove the USB port and to sell this console without that USB port, because I think that line is compromised all the way down to the CPU or whatever it talks to, and with that USB port installed, it's causing an issue. So that's my thought. Is we're just gonna remove that USB port, test the console for a while, make sure that it's working and it's stable. If it's working and stable and I'm able to keep it running for a while, we will sell it, okay, with the port, and we'll sell it for a little bit cheaper because it does not have the other port. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me, and I'll see you guys in the next. Peace.